Am I ready to buy my first home? I'm Taylor Jefferson, and in this video, I'm going to give you 6 questions you should ask yourself to help you determine if you are in fact ready to buy. Now, if you're not, I'm going to give you 2 actionable items you can start today to put you on the path to homeownership in the future. So let's begin. Now, if you don't mind, hit that like button on this video and click subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. I really appreciate it. So the first question you should ask yourself if you're ready to buy or not is, how stable is my income in my career? Now, this is important for a few reasons. Number 1, qualification. A lender is going to qualify you based upon your income. And if it's up, down, not consistent, it might make it tougher. More importantly, though, not just for qualification, but for your comfort level. How comfortable do you feel about your job stability and your income level? You know, you don't want to sign up for a 30-year loan and then get fired the next day. Now, that could happen to anybody, but again, how do you feel? What are the odds of that happening? If you feel very confident in your job and your career field, you know, then you're probably okay. But if you're like, I don't know what's going to happen week to week, probably not a good time. Question 2, you should ask yourself, do you see yourself staying in the current area you're in? Now, I don't mean necessarily the specific neighborhood, but if you see a cross-country move in your future, or if you go, I really don't know. If you don't have a clear vision of where you want to be, let's say 3 years from now, maybe 3 to 5 years from now, it might not be a good idea to buy. Because what if you bought, but then decided, actually, this isn't where I want to be, or there's a career opportunity elsewhere? You've got to sell a house in order to move. But if you're renting, that does provide flexibility and freedom to come and go as you please. You're not tied down to a specific property. So 3 years is kind of a good rule of thumb. If you don't see yourself where you're at 3 years from now, or if you don't know, I'd hold off on buying. Now, if you're like, I do see myself here for 3 to 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, but possibly there's a move further in the future, you know, you could probably go ahead and buy, because that gives you enough time to build up equity so that when you sell, you'll be okay. So question 3 is, do you have a budget set up? And I don't mean a budget as in what you want to spend on your home. I mean a monthly budget that takes into account your income minus your expenses and a plan for your money. If you don't have one set up, I strongly recommend you do before you buy a home. It will help you make a wiser decision. Now, if you don't have a budget set up, what we typically tell our clients is, how do you feel with your rent payment? You know, are you comfortable with that monthly payment? Do you want to go up? Do you want to go down? And then once you know kind of what monthly payment you want to stick with, you can speak with the lender, talk about your down payment, your credit score, and they can tell you based upon the monthly payment you're aiming at, what type of house budget and price you should be looking at and under. And so that will help you, again, make a better decision. Question 4 is, how much other debt do you have, and are you behind on any of those payments? Now, it's important to look at this. It's very common for buyers currently to have a car payment, credit cards, and student loans. Student loans typically being the biggest. But what's more important is, are you behind? If you're behind, that is a symptom of something else going on. Is it that you're constantly running a negative budget, meaning you're spending more than you make, you're living beyond your means? If so, you need to pay attention and stop that. But if it's also, maybe life happened, you got hit with an unexpected medical bill, transmission issue, you know, I get that life happens, and that's a temporary setback. So you want to make sure that if you are behind on anything, it was a glitch. It was not something that's going to continually happen, because when you own a home, expenses arise that are unexpected sometimes. You know, something might break. It's different than renting. Renting, you can call somebody and they're going to fix it on their dime. When it's your own home, it's up to you to fix it. And if you don't have a plan and money saved up or money prepared, allotted for these types of emergencies, or you're behind on other things, you're being pulled apart in too many different directions. And it'll make it harder to win with money in life. So it's important to take a look at where you're at and then see, am I current with everything? And if you are, great. You know, you probably can handle the responsibility of home ownership. But if you're behind and it's a symptom of something else going on, you know, you want to address that first. Question 5, how much money do you currently have saved? Now, there are loan programs available that offer little to no down payment, meaning that you can finance up to 100% of the purchase price. But there are still expenses associated with buying and moving that you want to have some cash saved for, including a home inspection, renting a moving truck, those type of expenses. Maybe you've got to cover some of your own closing costs because the seller's not paying for all of it. All of those situations mean that you need to have a little bit of cash on hand. You should also take a look at your monthly savings rate. You know, if you're not saving anything monthly, start getting in the habit of doing it. You know, look at your expenses, see where you can cut, and maybe pay off some debt and free up some cash flow for you. Because when you buy a house, if you're not saving right now and you go to buy a house, you're probably not going to save in the future either. And as mentioned, home ownership has unexpected expenses sometimes. And if you don't have a cushion, a buffer of disposable income, it means that you might have to finance those issues that arise, and that puts you further behind. I want you to win. I want you to thrive. And the way to do that is to live below your means. So again, going back to starting a budget, taking a look at your monthly savings rate and increasing that. Question 6, how easy is it for me to leave my current living situation penalty-free? Or in other words, if I'm renting, when does my lease end, or what are the terms of my lease agreement? So I recommend that you take a look at that, because typically if you're renting, you have to pay 2 months of your monthly rent in order to break the lease early. Sometimes it's more. You want to know that and be prepared, because if it's already tight for you to buy a home, you don't want that extra few $1,000 expense just to break the lease either. So I usually recommend look at when your lease ends and then back up a couple months and start your home search there. That'll provide a buffer of time for you to find a home, get under contract, close, and then move out comfortably, but still not have a double payment of both rent and a mortgage payment. So usually a couple months before. Now, if you're month to month, or if you've got a more flexible living arrangement, you can just start searching whenever. But if you're in a rental agreement, I recommend taking a look at that. Now, if watching this video made you go, I'm probably not ready to buy a house right now, that's okay. Here are 2 things you can start doing today to get you prepared for buying a home in the future. Number 1, think about where you want to be 5 years from now. Maybe it's in a new career field, maybe it's in a new location. But if you think about where you want to be, you've got a goal. And all you need to do is figure out a plan to get there starting today. So dream a little. Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to have happen? And then break that down into smaller, actionable steps and start taking those steps now. Because the little actions today will compound and add up 5 years from now. Number 2, start tracking your money. I strongly recommend making a monthly budget, taking a financial snapshot of where you are currently and where you want to be. And a monthly budget will help you get there. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, because in the future I'm going to do a video all about how to make a budget. Maybe after watching this video you go, yep, that confirms it. I'm actually ready to buy a house. I'd like to get started. Hit me up. Give me a call. As much as I love making these videos, I love helping people buy and sell real estate even more. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you next go round.